Morning, afternoon, evening. It's Sunday, the 18th of July, and it's nearly 10 to 4 in the afternoon. And since I'm in the UK, we're experiencing a mini heat wave at the minute, so it's like 32 degrees outside or something ridiculous like that. It's been a long time since I made a video. Since I made a video like this, I've been making some vlogs and whatnot. I'm just walking my dog, really, more than anything. Um, and I've been looking through some of my older videos regarding the mental illness, and I've had to create this video in regards to like answering, well, not answering, but just like reading the comments. Because I've had one person in particular, Keith William Wendorf. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name. But you put a lot of comments on my videos, so like I'm just gonna go through them. So this was in regards to my part one mental illness video. I'm just gonna read them out. Some doctors, I was told by someone from an organization that helps people with mental health, or did, as they lost their funding, is always mental health that is nailed first when it comes to NHS cuts. Anyway, some doctors have a Bible they go by, and if you don't tick all the boxes, then there is nothing wrong with you. I'm assuming that Bible is the DSM, the Diagnostics and Statistics of Mental Health. Is that what it's called, the DSM? It's supposed to be heralded as the Bible. I think that's what you're talking about. DSM. What is it called? Diagnostics and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So I'm guessing that's what you're referring to. I don't blame you there. Like it is sort of like I haven't been in the. I can't remember the last time I've had like a mental health evaluation. It's been a long time. The second comment is, glad I subscribed to your channel, Marsh. I appreciate it. Ever need a chat, mate? We'll have to sort something out. I'm very self-analytical, always have been. What you call a people watcher. Plus, I was doing counselling course. At college that would have resulted in a master's degree, but events in life took a bad turn, so I had to quit and miss the exams. Long story. Well, everybody has I'm not gonna downplay it because I've seen you in quite a lot of videos of like Mr. H's streams and whatnot. But literally the only setback you could ever have in life is like having the wrong attitude. I could say that there are people out there that have only one arm or one leg, or no arms and one leg or something like that, and they're still going to the gym. I'm subscribed on I'm following a guy on Instagram who has, I don't know what he's got, but he's a special needs. He's got special needs. Let me check it out because he's actually quite a popular person on Instagram, but he's got some sort of disability. I can't remember what it was. Smiles Taylor. Let me just have a look. I have CP. CP doesn't have me. So he has cerebral palsy, but he's so he has cerebral palsy, but he's also like a digital artist, photographer, but he's also an athlete as well. So that's one example. But I'm just like maybe you don't have to take my comments. Maybe you don't have to listen to what I'm saying at the minute. I'm just waffling on, but maybe it's better because I'm reading this in hindsight, and like I feel like I have to like provide some sort of answer or response. But maybe the one thing that you can't do is actually, when it comes to these sorts of things, when you're talking about your own personal experiences, is that the one thing you cannot do in terms of like when you're reading comments or something like that, is listening to the other person, which is listening is a skill. But there are times where you just listen and let the other person vent or just talk about themselves, and that at the minute is that's almost impossible to do unless you're in like a medical setting, right? Another person's commented, Tom P, you have a lot of insight. Yeah, I appreciate that. But I spend a lot of my time wandering around and scratching my head as well. So I spend a lot of my time just thinking and scratching my head. So that's me. Then we come back to Keith William Wendorf. Yeah, depression is seriously hard to explain, mate. Someone said to me once, duvet day. Someone said to me once, duvet days. You just want to hide under the duvet and ignore the world. They were shocked when I said I get duvet weeks or even months. I'm on 40 milligrams of citalopram once a day, which actually do enough all for me. Have cyclothymia. Probably spelled it wrong, but like I said in part two, trying to actually get a diagnosis is a fucker. Yeah, it is a bitch. Several people I know saw the same doctor I did and all the same verdict. Fucking useless. What part of the UK are you in the UK? What part of the UK? If you are in the UK, what part of the UK are you in? Because I can't remember now. I can't remember if you said that you were in the UK or not. I have people asking me what's caused your depression. They don't understand with how mine works. There doesn't have to be a cause; it just hits. Same as the manics, as you could call them. I just get very hyperactive, loud, sociable, and don't give a shit. Used to have people ask friends when I went out for nights out, what drug is he on? Friends used to say no, and that's naturally him. I don't even need a drink for the highs or the lows to kick in. I've been like that. I, I, I used to spend a couple of, when I was 17, 18, I would spend a few hours walking, pacing around my home for a few hours in like some sort of blissful, hyperactive state in my own little world, and then it would crash, and I would just be in my room, and that happened for several months. That happened for a long time. Um, it happened for a few years actually, where I would experience a high, and I'd get like an adrenaline rush, and then I would immediately hit like a wall, and it would just be like impossible to like find my way out of it. And I was actually recently in it, this Friday actually, I was in that situation where um, I was in some sort of stupor or like some sort of mindset. Um, it was quite dark. It was a really dark place. But I managed to find myself out of it eventually. After a few hours, it was really really bad. I spoke to my therapist, well, counselor, and it's something that we've sort of spoke about in the past, which is it's like a lot of mental illness is to do with like tunnel vision or like focusing on one thing, like you become fixated on one or literally just one thing, and you become oblivious to everything else around you or all the other possibilities. So like I explained to my counselor like when it comes to like going shopping or wanting to travel or do anything like that, I plan it and I have a certain bus or a certain shop to go to or a certain time to leave, and I become fixated on that sort of thing. And even when it comes to like doing chores around the house as well, just like I do become fixated, and I sort of become if I don't do or take that specific thing, it sort of impacts me negatively, and I sort of become like, okay, what's the point in doing it now? Like I've missed my shot. So I guess the key point to take away from that on what I just said is just tunnel vision, and how it, how it's a bit different from just having attention or focus on something, because this can last for hours, days, and weeks, months, even years, probably. Being in that kind of frame, being in that sort of like fixation or obsession, or you can use different words to describe it, but it's basically the same thing. It's not a good place. Okay, moving on to the next comment. Plus, add that I'm epileptic. Which contrary to what a lot of people think, isn't all about flashing lights. That's photosensitive epilepsy, which is actually quite rare. It tends to be you're born with epilepsy or stress kickstarts it. Stress being mine, but GP thinks I've maybe been epileptic longer than when diagnosed, just not been having maybe more than 1 or 2 seizures a year, which I've thought is convulsions or falling asleep and waking up roughly. I'm on lamotrigine, almost the highest dose for it, which is also used for bipolar. A lot of drugs used for bipolar are epilepsy drugs. Also on clobazam to smooth out seizures during my sleep, which I actually found out was an anti-anxiety drug. My brother is on citalopram, which the gaffle for him either, and I think he stopped taking them. Okay, so when it comes to the epilepsy, I know someone that's I have a family member who's severely epileptic, and we used to think it was because of the flashing lights as well, but it wasn't. There used to be like infection, like you get like bladder infections or water infections or urinary tract infections that can set it off. You can get like a mouth infection or whatever, and that can set it off as well. It's not nice, because then you go see the person in the hospital, and then that person looks like they've been in a boxing match, because they've had epilepsy, they've had the seizures at a hospital, and then they've just fallen over and whacked themselves against something. So it's not nice. It's also bloody scary as well, especially if you're a child. If you're a child watching your parent have an epileptic fit, that's actually bloody traumatizing. Like you don't sleep, you don't sleep at all. You sort of become nocturnal because of it. When it comes to what else about the epilepsy, actually no wait, also the meds that you're on, I think this is important to say. If you get medication from a psychiatrist, I'd personally say take them until the psychiatrist stops the medication altogether, or stops the treatment altogether. I had to explain this to someone that in terms of the hierarchy, there's like a hierarchy of which doctor can do what. So you have your general practitioner. They can actually prescribe you antidepressants. Then you have like a psychologist or a psychotherapist. I think it is a psychotherapist, which is the next level up. You have like a low intensity and then a high intensity psychotherapist, and then you have a psychiatrist, which is like you go to the hospital. All on the ones below it, like you don't necessarily have to go to a hospital to see them. But when it comes to a psychiatrist, you actually have to go to a specialized. You have to either go to hospital to see a psychiatrist as an inpatient or an outpatient, or I guess inpatient, outpatient, or if you're seeing like a through a private clinic, then it'll be really really expensive, I presume, and because that's the hierarchy, that's the chain of order, chain of command. So anything that a psychiatrist prescribes is like you take it, like you don't say, it's not like willy-nilly. It's not like, okay, I can take it whenever I want to, which I've seen some people do, and it's backfired catastrophically because it just tears the entire family apart. They just sort of fail at life completely. So they just sort of like fail at college, fail at uni. They just fuck up everything because they haven't stuck to their meds. I've done that as well, but I've done that because I'm not exactly disciplined and I am quite lazy. And because I've been moving backwards and forwards between homes for university and changing addresses as well, um, it's been quite hard to when it comes to moving, it's been quite hard to like change addresses so then I can get my meds on time. And yeah, so if these meds like when it comes to like the epilepsy ones are they're like, yeah, you have to take them as long as the epilepsy medication is not is not what's causing the epilepsy in the first place, which is what happened to the family member of mine, which is like the medication itself was triggering the epilepsy. This was a long time ago. This was 18 years ago, so I was like 10 years old, 10, 11 years old. Yeah, so they had to get the dosage right. I think they had to get the correct mixture of the different meds that this person had to be on. Yeah. Have you tried holistic methods such as, I don't know if you've got a pet dog or a cat, or like if you have house plants, or if you meditate, or if you do yoga, if you're able to do anything like that, if you're able to do gardening, there must be, you gotta look for alternatives as well. My counsel said that to me yesterday as well, that I gotta keep an eye out for alternatives. Next comment is, yeah, older generation just don't seem to understand about mental health problems, and no offense to your ethnic background, but seems mental health is a dishonorable thing for a family. Apologies if I'm wrong, mate. Possibly my mental health hit when I was about 17, 19, after some serious trauma, which not willing to go into here as I'm a very private person. But back then, mental health wasn't a big thing and very misunderstood and hardly known about. This is the mid 80s. Yeah, I guess there is a cultural thing and a generational thing as well. Like for the people that don't know, like so my family originated in India, but my grandparents come from India, or where my family started from. But my parents were born in Kenya. So they were born in the 1950s. Um, I think it was British occupied Kenya. I think it was, um, yeah, I think it was something like that. And in parts of Africa, even now, um, I guess it's quite prevalent amongst some Asian cultures, so, such as Gujaratis and actually I don't know much about different types of cultures, but you know what I mean, like different clusters of people, different ethnic groups. They have quite strict opinions, or quite outdated perspective on mental illness. So it sort of hinders, it not just hinders, it's downright dangerous because people lose their lives. Entire families get destroyed because of something that they didn't want to go see the doctor about. Yeah. Um, yeah, as I was saying, in parts of Africa, mental illness is like associated in India as well. Like, I guess in quite a lot of cultures, mental illness was associated with witchcraft and black magic and voodoo and the curses, curses, supernatural, spiritual, that sort of thing, the paranormal, really, and that still goes on. So like, you might be thinking, oh, mental illness is like everybody knows what mental illness is, but no, not of. There's quite a massive chunk of the population probably has some sort of opinion, not opinion, some sort of like belief that sort of holds them is sort of detrimental towards their own health and well-being. So, okay, so we can talk about diabetes because diabetes is like when it comes to Indians, like my background, I'm predisposed to diabetes. Um, but people in my community, like in my family, they'd very happily take their insulin because they're diabetic. They associate it as like, okay, as a biological thing. There's nothing to be ashamed of about it, but they don't have the same attitude or the same perspective on mental illness. I have to take antipsychotics. It's a low dosage antipsychotic, but it's being used as a mood stabilizer and as something to manage my anxiety as well. And I have to take that consistently. I cannot miss any days because it takes a while for the drug to kick in, for the drug to have its effects. Um, I wouldn't tell someone who's diabetic to stop taking their insulin because they don't need it because all their problems are in their head. Or if someone got hit by a car, I wouldn't tell them I'll just walk it off. Yeah, you'd get in touch with the proper authorities, ambulance, paramedics, or whatever, doctors. Yeah. I don't know when the shift in mental illness happened, so I don't know because I know in the mid 80s, I think the mid 70s, 80s, like between the 70s and 90s, there was like a self help um bonanza. I'd say, like there were like self help books flying off the like coming out everywhere. But those self help books, they weren't exactly helpful. Like they were like these pretentious written, um, not not very good. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it though. I think I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna keep going for like another 5-10 minutes. And not a criticism of you, mate, just an observation. Was it a bad day, or are you as disorganized as I am? I hate it as in my 20s I was so tidy and knew where everything was. I'm quite forgetful, actually. I'd like to think of myself as someone who has a good memory, but I'm actually quite extremely forgetful. So, because I've got a dog now, um, I walk my dog every like, and some of the neighbors have gotten to know me. They know my name, they know my face, they know me. They say hi, they sort of like interact with me. I recognize their faces, but I don't know their fucking name. They know my name. They've only seen me they only seen me or spoken to me once, and they remember my name and they remember my face. I speak to someone once, I don't remember their names. It's I, my memories. I can admit my memory's bad because I spend even whilst working. Like I was working with my dad a couple of years ago, and I wouldn't remember all the details that happened the previous day, like what job we were doing, what orders, what the quantity was, what inks, what the consumables were, who was working on which machine, how long did the jobs take, yeah, I wouldn't remember any of that. I'd just be like on autopilot. I'd just be like, well, my mind would just switch off, and I'd just be drifting on autopilot. It's sort of like some sort of detachment, really. I know when it comes to like being disorganized, there's not a criticism. I hate it as in my 20s I was so tidy and knew where everything was. You got I've been told quite a few times to write things down. Don't trust your mind. Write things down. Have a physical copy. The writing's actually quite good because writing physically on pen and paper, as opposed to typing it or putting it in your phone has a strange effect where it sort of focuses your mind. You try here's a bit of a challenge. Okay, get a pen and paper and try and write a story like right now. Try and write about something. If your mind is racing and you've got thousands and thousands of thoughts all in your head, you're too aware of your own inner workings. Get a pen and paper and try and write down as much as you can. You'd probably stare at the piece of paper. It's just a blank piece of paper, and you're like, wait, I had all these ideas in my head, so where have they all gone? So I'd say even I need to do that. But like I'm quite, I'd say neurotic. I wouldn't say neurotic. I don't know. I do have some sort of self sabotage or laziness, lack of discipline as well. Final comment on the mental health part one. My neighbor has borderline personality disorder, and he said was nothing wrong with her. What? And he said, my neighbor has borderline personality, and he said was nothing wrong with her. Blamed my bipolar on me not being in a relationship. Plus, I have problems as I am too rational. Yeah, it's because I don't like being confined and like to do what I want when I want. Since 18, when I was in the army, and I've only ever had a year living back at my parents', and that was after my marriage broke up. Since 18, I've always had my own place, and I'm 54 today. Yes, I actually turned 54 today. This was a fucking month ago. Damn, happy birthday. Actually, I'm such a bastard. Fuck me. It's always interesting when it comes to like hearing people that have been in the army, because the army is like ultra disciplined. Like they teach you self sustenance or autonomy. Being in the army, the military, the one thing they nail in you more than anything is to be autonomous. In a sense that you have to be ready for something. It's not just being autonomous; it's being highly disciplined as well. Like you wake up, you get everything ready. You do everything by the numbers, by the books, or whatever. Then you finish the day off, and that's what I'm presuming. I'm assuming that I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but that's my perception of what being in the army is. That it's just being highly disciplined. It kind of sucks when you have to when you get married. Actually, that's an understatement. I can't imagine getting married and then breaking up, getting a divorce. That'd fuck me up completely. I wouldn't know what to do. Yeah. I'm actually shattered now. It's actually 32 degrees centigrade. Yeah, 32 degrees centigrade. I've read through all these comments that Keith William has left me, which I appreciate. I've already read some of the other comments in, I think, the follow-up videos anyway. And I'll do another one. Yeah, at some point. Not at some point. I'll do one and upload it. I appreciate you tuning in and watching me. I've just been doing whatnot. I hope you have a good day. If you're out in the sun, enjoy the sun. Wear protection. Carry 2-3 bottles of water, especially if you've got a pet or an animal or something like that. Bloody hell. Yeah, just look after yourself. Alright, take care. Bye.